I don't know where it all started. I love my husband John very much. Everyone thinks we are the perfect couple, and John is the perfect husband. Handsome, professional, and with a great sense of humor. People seem to respect him, even though he never put any effort into it for the sake of it. His age is now approaching 50, and I, his wife Trish, am noticeably behind him. Men say I'm attractive, but I try to ignore it. The worst of the lot are arrogant and vain. In my 46 years at 5'7", with brown eyes that match the color of my hair and a decent figure, I'm happy with my looks. I exercise and do yoga, but not fanatically. Enjoy good food and drink, which means a few extra pounds, and that's appropriate for my age. I work as a retail manager and have a passion for reading, puzzles, and games of all kinds. Our children, Jason and Vicky, are grown but still live nearby and often have game nights with us and our extended family. The sex life remains great. The only snag is that I never experience a finish during sex, but John is far more bothered by this than I am. He is an exceptional master of other caresses, and I enjoy sex with him immensely. I took John with me to our Christmas party. It was nice to be dressed up, and we always had a good time. John felt comfortable in his new company and could talk intelligently about any subject. I left John at the bar to hang out and dance a bit. It started out with a group of girls, but we were joined by some young guys from work. I liked the company, especially the new supply manager. I really like working with Martin. When I met him, there was an instant connection between us. He was young, fit, charming, and for some reason very interested in me. I went looking for John and finally found him sitting behind the bar. He didn't look happy and looked like he was about to leave. "Sorry, babe. I got distracted talking to everyone and walking around the lounge." "Everyone or just him?" I turned around to find John nodding towards Martin. "That's Martin. He's just a colleague of mine, and it was a fun dance, that's all." "I saw the way you looked at him. You like him." It was more of a statement than a question. "What?" "No, well, maybe I hadn't thought about it. Actually, I did think about it. I thought about it a lot. It felt good, and I really liked the attention. But why the hell did I leave John out of it? We're friends, period. Even if he wanted more, it was never going to happen." I was surprised John didn't get even more pissed off. He seemed to accept my explanation. We stayed at the party, and I tried to be much more considerate of him. When we got home, I was very horny and almost jumped on John. We had great sex. Am I to understand that it was Martin who turned you on? I took a chance. He may have helped a little, but it was all you, honey. When John didn't object, I continued. I'm flattered that a young guy finds me attractive, but there's nothing he can do here, so I'm saving it all for you. After that, we talked a lot more about sex, especially our fantasies. The frequency and variety in our sex life increased, and we had a great time. I bought a lot of new lingerie, knowing that John loved stockings and heeled shoes. We would go out to dinner or drinks, and I would tease him mercilessly. I loved my new sexual side. Our fantasies extended to others. Who would we most want to have sex with naturally, hypothetically? As it turned out, mostly movie and sports stars. Throughout this time, I repeatedly told John how much I loved him and how lucky I was to have someone willing to experiment and accommodate my wishes. We even started watching adult pictures together, including some scenes of cheating. At the same time, Martin flirted fiercely with me at work, and I loved it. He was constantly asking me out on dates. I declined, but found myself wishing I could go. I sat John down to talk. I love you more than anything, and you are the most wonderful husband in the world. Thank you, I love you too. Is something wrong? No, everything's fine. Remember when you asked me if I was interested in experiencing a finish during sex? Well, I thought about it for a long time and decided I want to figure it out before I get old. I wonder if it could be different with someone else. John just looked confused. I genuinely thought we could both benefit, and I just needed to explain it to him properly. Martin has asked me to go on a trip with him next weekend, and I want to go. I hope I can discover something and share it with us. You know what the mystery of orgasm is? I know you liked that hot wife video we watched, and I thought we could explore that fantasy. It was just a fantasy, Trish. It could have been a reality for us, babe. Martin's taken an interest in me and has been stalking me for months. He knows all about you and is no threat to our marriage. I'm flattered and I want to be honest with you. I will tell you everything that will happen, and none of it will affect how much I love you. Have you two had sex before? No, we are professionals at work and nothing has happened. I would like to have some fun, but I always come home to you. It wasn't a quick or easy decision. John, I love you, but I feel like I need to do this. I could see John's pain and confusion. His lack of a finish line bothers him. I know it's not unusual for women to not experience a finish, but I was curious if it was possible with someone else. John's legs didn't seem to be holding him up, and he had his back against the wall. Damn it. I didn't want to hurt him, but at least he wasn't mad. I hardly slept at all, and I suspect John didn't either. I kept asking myself if I was doing the right thing, and the doubt and worry never left me. In the morning, John, thank goodness, seemed more relaxed. Perhaps he saw the benefits and accepted the situation. I knew it was a common fantasy. So many people talk about it, and I hoped to use it to further energize our sex life. I didn't want to prolong the conversation and decided it was best to just cut to the chase. It was so strange to put on lingerie for another man, but intoxicating at the same time. The new set included a garter belt, bra, and a tiny thong that seemed racy, even decadent. And the fact that he was handsome and fit was even more arousing. I felt some guilt in front of John, but the feeling of arousal overpowered it. I packed my weekend suitcase, mostly full of dresses, heels, and lingerie, and said goodbye to John. I'll be back on Sunday. Be ready to take me back. I'll be in touch, darling. I want you to be a part of this. John didn't respond in any way, but I knew he was nervous and had mixed feelings. I intended to stay in touch with him and make sure he was okay. Upon seeing my outfit, Martin seemed delighted. I let him catch a glimpse of the top of my stockings, and I loved his reaction. Pure lust. It wasn't that I was hiding or concealing them, but I made sure he saw me in all my glory. The sexual tension was building, and I was very excited to be with him. How did John react to our trip? Not very well, but not as painfully as I thought he would. I was almost disappointed that he didn't fight back harder. Have you made our intentions clear? Yes, more clearly, but without being rude. Described it as a trip and a date. He didn't resist at all? Maybe he's a cuckold. Why don't you write him? Guys like him love torment and teasing. Don't talk about him like that. I'll try to write, but only to make sure he's okay. I dialed, "Hey baby, got there safe and sound, the hotel's great. How are you doing?" I frowned when there was no answer, but luckily my phone rang. "Have fun, I had dinner with Jason and Vicky." That got me worried. What had he told the kids? I didn't think he would say anything, it would only embarrass him. I hoped he would be alone and thinking about me, but it was clear he would try to distract himself. I replied, "Martin is acting like an impeccable gentleman. It's so exciting to fulfill that fantasy." Ah, yes. Sometimes it's hard to distinguish fantasy from reality. I was puzzled by his rather cryptic response. His answer was shorter than I had hoped, but he seemed to be fine with it. No threats or hurt emotions. Martin asked about his answers. He seemed to enjoy it, a little more than I would have liked, to be honest. Maybe he's a real cuckold. Try sending him selfies with us, see what he says. I wasn't sure, but I did it and sent selfies with us at the restaurant, adding a caption, "I appreciate everything we have, and we can have even more by having a great time." Then I replaced the word time with date. Yes, having a wonderful date. And sent it. It fit the hot wife theme and might have turned John on. "I can't forget this place during our anniversary. Sounds like you're having a great time. You certainly dressed up for it, and no wedding ring." I was reminded of our anniversary at this same hotel, and if tonight was anything like that, it would have been a great night. Maybe we should have picked a different place. I wouldn't want John to feel like he'd been replaced in any way. "I wanted to be respectful of your ring, babe. It'll be back in place on Sunday when I get back to you. I love you." Actually, I do. I felt slightly guilty, but I was sure I could undo any damage by enjoying my time with Martin. We finished our meal and enjoyed our drinks. The tension reached boiling point, and we turned down the opportunity for another drink and headed for the room. I quickly texted John. "Already on my way up. Hope it turns you on. I'll be your hot wife soon. Tell me, how are you feeling?" Hardly had we entered the room when Martin kissed me. a passionate kiss until my fingers cramped. You won't regret this, Trish. Perhaps we can make it a regular thing if John is agreeable. I was thrilled to be desired by another man. I was excited by the novelty and what it would be like with another man. Martin kissed and touched me all over, and it was like an electric shock. I told him to wait on the bed while I got ready. I went to the bathroom and unzipped my dress. I examined myself in the mirror, admiring the expensive lingerie I had bought. I quickly checked my phone. The lack of a response from John had me worried. This might be harder for him than I thought, but he didn't mind the plan. I texted again. John, are you here? You've been quiet all night. I love you, baby. We can make up when I get home. Obviously, I have a hard time believing that's possible. I stared at the phone for a moment, trying to figure out how my husband felt. Surely it makes sense that part of his soul is regretting or doubting the way things are going. Honestly, baby, it's going to be just that. I'm going to dress like this for you too. I sent selfies with the bathroom mirror showing off my underwear and stockings. Martin called out from the room and asked if I was trying to torture him by waiting. My cell phone beeped. Yes, it is, but I'll disappoint you. I don't need to prevail on him. Damn, this is a mistake. The picture was supposed to turn him on. I tried calling, but there was no answer. Maybe he wasn't as turned on this evening as I had hoped. I was about to send another text when I heard the dial tone again. Enough about that. You like puzzles. Read the letters of the first words in my replies. Maybe you'll understand. I looked at the first words in his text message again. Have fun. Forget, actually, obviously, yep. Divorce. Divorce, damn it! I called him again, but there was still no answer. I hurriedly changed and rushed out of the bathroom in a panic, trying to put on my heels, much to Martin's bewilderment. I have to go home immediately! Martin was shocked at first, but then tried to calm me down and get me to explain. I showed him all the text messages. Damn, he's not going to do anything stupid, is he? I don't want my wife to find out. So you're married? I was texting as I ran down the hall. On my way home. We ran to Martin's car. He got behind the wheel and I called and left a voicemail. We had nothing. I'm on my way home. I also texted the same thing and got an immediate reply. Chance had enough of that. Thanks for the heads up. It will allow me to make some preparations. Please don't do anything rash. This is all a terrible mistake. Loving you was a terrible mistake. Then another text from him. Legally speaking, you left me no choice. I'm not going out with him anymore. I'm choosing you. Ha, that's a waste. Clearly you wanted him and I don't want to tie you down. It's your body, your choice. You didn't want to miss the chance to get the finish line. Did you know he's married with 3 kids? Anyway, don't be too hasty. I'm gone. I am now on paid leave after being laid off before retirement and will be traveling a lot. P.S. Look at that, I got another word. I reread all the text messages. Chance, love, legal, slut. When I arrived, the house was dark and quiet with a for sale sign in the front garden. I loved the house. It was my pride and joy. All of this suddenly became very real and I panicked. When I entered the house, on the kitchen table were neatly folded divorce papers that John had already signed. Missing were most of his clothes and personal belongings. I was shocked. It came to me that I was losing my best friend. We always talked. Our conversations were light, and he always made me laugh. He was the love of my life, and... Gone. I sent another text. We're not done. I love you, and you love me. For 2 weeks, there was nothing from him despite all my attempts to contact him. I was hysterical. He withdrew half of our savings and took the things that were most precious to him. An envelope arrived at our address written in his hand. I opened it and was shocked to find it contained his wedding ring. This triggered another bout of sobbing. The next day I got a text message. Hi, just wanted to let you know I arrived safely. The resort is wonderful. And I looked at the text message hopefully, but it left me confused. Attached to it was a picture of the beach. The turquoise and jade sea looked absolutely stunning. I immediately replied, Sorry, John, please come home. And I decided to live out my fantasy this time, and Merlin turned out to be a wonderful hostess and lady. There was another picture, this time of a gorgeous, athletic-looking Caribbean woman in a green and yellow bikini sitting on the edge of a chaise lounge. I couldn't help but notice John throwing the wording of my text messages from that night with Martin in my face with devastating force. Great dates she and I have here every day. Tentatively without your ring, babe, wanted to show him some respect. So I sent it back and you should have gotten it by now. How you doing, by the way? Yo, sorry, can't offer restoration or reconciliation. I reread the first words, realizing this was going to be the message. High resolved, great dandy, goodbye. There was one last message. John had copied my text messages from my night out with Martin into an entire email thread, with Martin's wife, my parents, and our kids on the address list. Martin called me furious that his wife had kicked him out and was going to divorce him, blamed it on me and my texts, and I blamed him for relentlessly stalking me. My parents were equally furious and couldn't understand what I was thinking, and frankly, neither could I. It was nothing compared to my children's utter disappointment. They told me never to expect John to come back.